Mango Mustache Media.
Hello and welcome to the Sexy Housewife podcast. I am your host with the moistest pussy, Karen Sanchez Dougall, and I am here with my good friend Zach Hoyle, who's also a comedian.
Dog? What's going on, everybody? How are you?
We're good. I'm also here with the person that I file a joint tax return. Love of my life, Connor Dougall.
How's it going?
Hi, babe. Thank you for being here. Thank you both for being here.
Of course, Doc. Thank you for having me.
So here at the Sexy Housewife podcast, we like to ask, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Which means just how are you and who are you? Why are you here?
Why am I here, Doc? Because you asked me, all right? I'm very excited to be here, honestly. My name is Zach Hoyle. I'm a local comedian here in Cedar Rapids. And I'm doing really good, dude. Things have been very fun recently. I'm new to stand-up. You know, I've been doing stand-up since like November. And the community around here has been really fun. So like every day, and not only in that kind of sense, like the everyday life has been very, very good because of that. Mm-hmm.
Great.
How about you, babe? How are you?
Well, I am Karen's husband, Connor. I'm doing great today. I feel really good.
Yeah, our dog hasn't shit inside the house in a while.
In like 24 whole hours. So like,
pretty much.
Dude.
So we're doing great. Shout out to Ellie, our 7-month-old corgi, who has not shit inside. And no, she did shit inside like yesterday.
yeah, it's been like
24
30 hours.
Maybe. We're probably going to go home to shit inside. That's okay. We still love her. We're not going to get rid of her. All right, Zach, how did we meet?
We met through stand-up, which was dope. I actually remember the first time I ever remember seeing you. It was actually, it fucking made me laugh, dude. You were on stage, and this girl, she was in the audience, and she had like really bad self-tanner on. And it was not.
I remember this.
And I don't know how you got into like the crowd work with him, but you're kind of chatting to him, and then finally you know the bit I'm talking about, and you fucking crushed her. You said something. Now I can't remember it off the top of my head.
I remember.
Tell me.
I was like, why don't you get rid of your fucking passport?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, just throw it away.
You want to be brown so bad, and that was the first time that like. Because I've been a fan of stand-up my entire life, but I didn't start going to clubs until, recently, and actually being in stand-up and watching stand-up's a lot different. And it was the first time that I felt like, oh, fuck. Like, and I did not want to look back at her behind me.
She was pissed.
Oh, not happy at all.
No, she was pissed. And she's like a regular at that. It was at Lucky Cat.
I know.
And she's
I
a
see them all
regular
the time.
there. Yeah.
Her boyfriend actually knows my sister, so.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, fuck them. I don't give a fuck. No,
Shout out to the local patrons.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's why I won't get booked there now.
So anyway, that's how we met. I remember seeing you that night, and then I started coming up to Joystick, and I would see you at Joystick a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we get along.
Yeah, we sure do. Yeah, no, I mean, I stand by that joke.
I agree. I thought it was hilarious.
Like, why the fuck? I mean, if you're gonna paint yourself orange,
dude,
just throw it in a shredder.
Give
it to someone who needs it.
It always self-tanner always freaked me out because like I don't want it on me, dude. I don't like anything on me. I don't know if you guys have that like kind of like a sensory thing or whatever.
For the most part, I don't like that.
Oh man, I can't do it.
I will never forget the time that I was at like in college, and I was at a party, like it was like at a river or something, some fucking jank ass shit. And it was in the summer, so I was super tan. And this girl comes up to me, and she was like, "You're so tan." And I look at her, and I go, "I'm Mexican." And she was like, wanted to like wanted the earth to swallow her whole. And I was like, that's right, bitch. Like, fucking shut the fuck up.
dumb,
Like,
dumb.
don't say
I
that.
would also, that's such a weird thing to compliment a stranger on.
It's like,
To
yeah.
talk about like how tan they are. Like that is, I've never met you, dude. It's one thing if I got a tan and someone came up like, hey, oh, that, you have a
Yeah,
nice
or
looking
like I
tan.
just came back from, vacation.
But if you're just a
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
like on the street, or
Like,
whatever.
you're so brown. Like, Connor, you want to, let's talk about how we met, because that's
Yeah.
really cute. I love that story.
Yeah, so I used to have a real shitty job taking phone calls for a auto service center. So you can imagine how those people are when
Lots of Karens.
when they call in. But I was at work doing that, and my buddy texted me. And we don't get to hang out often, but he said he was helping a friend move into town, and I really just assumed it was like a guy friend. I had no idea. He didn't tell me who it was, and asked if I would help, and then we could hang out afterwards. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. We don't get to hang out much. And so I went home from work, changed my clothes, drove over there to the address that he gave me, and I realized, I was like, oh, it's that friend.
No,
And
I was driving, and my friend calls me because they're behind me, and I'm driving in my U-Haul on the way here, and they're like, hey, Zach's friend wants to help you, different Zach, wants to help you move in. Is that cool? And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, it's literally just your boyfriend and me, and you're pregnant. No, definitely. Like, it was literally just me and one other person helping me move in, because my family did not want me to move to Iowa City.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Marshalltown.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, because this was like fresh off of like 3 months after trying to kill myself in my garage. So like my family did not want me to move at all. And I was
understandably on that one. I'm going to have to side with the fam on that one. I'd be a little worried too.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm not living here anymore.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I was very done. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then he pulls up, and I hadn't even been there for like 5 minutes, and he pulls up, and I see his little tight white ass, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fuck him. Like, I'm gonna fuck him so hard, and I did. Like a week later, but I did. Yeah.
played hard to get for a while.
Yeah, he did.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
My dude.
He played hard to get.
That's not usually my move. I wasn't really, and that wasn't really the strategy either. I was just like trying to not be weird because I knew that we were all friends. And I was like, I wasn't 100% sure that she was interested in me. I mean, I was like 99% sure, but I didn't want to do anything if she wasn't. And then everything became weird.
Meanwhile, I was throwing myself at him.
Yeah, I was gonna say you sound like a good guy.
Meanwhile, I was such a slut.
It worked, dude. Though I mean,
we're
both
married.
strategies. Yeah, both strategies work. The playing hard to get and also being a little loose with your man. I think that's a good combo.
Yeah, I did. I was like, first off, I bought him dinner for helping move in. I bought you Estella's. And then
Estella. Shout out Estella.
Shout out Estella's.
I do love Estella's.
I love Estella's. Estella's is so good. And then I gave you my number.
I was literally like 15 seconds away from asking her for hers because I was about to walk out the door and then she beat me to it.
Right.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we started hanging out. We went on a date like 2 days later to Big Grove. And then we were hanging out. We were making scotcheroos. And we were making scotcheroos one night at my place. And then I invited him into my bedroom, into a bedroom with no TV.
Hell yeah, dude. It's going on. You didn't have a TV in the bedroom.
She pulls out the laptop.
Oh, yeah, that dude, you know it's a lock when the laptop comes out. You're like, first of all, I know this thing's going to be in the way in about 20 minutes. It's always like you start and you're both are like, it keeps bumping into your leg. You're like, shit, dude. You're like trying to get on the floor. Oh, that's so funny.
How did you and Hannah meet?
Hinge. Shout out Hinge. Shout out the dating apps. Shout out to Hinge. It's the app that's designed to be deleted. All right, and it did get deleted. We met on Hinge.
That's cute.
And it was. She came over. I literally from the moment she came over, because she just came over to the crib. You know what I mean?
Thanks for not murdering her. Wow.
No, we had chatted a little bit, and I knew instantly, dude. There was just something about her. She's very beautiful. She's got all these little tattoos. Her personality is pretty bubbly. She's
so beautiful.
Beautiful, dude. Gorgeous. I love her so much. Shout out to my fiance. But from the time she came over, we've pretty much hung out every single day since we've known each other. Like, it's been nonstop. Hanging out and being together and figuring out life together, because we both were kind of in a weird spot when we met each other. She was like really depressed, like bad. And I had just moved back to Iowa from living on the East Coast. I lived in North Carolina for a little bit and then up to New Jersey. So I got back here and it was good to be home. I kind of needed that balance of like moving back home from some wild, we could maybe get into that later, but some wild shit on the East Coast. Got back here and I was kind of making some good momentum or whatever in life, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And then she came around and it was like, even though we were both in a bad space, we both wanted to get out of it. And we just like latched onto each other. And so ever since then.
That's kind of how we were too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That sounds very similar.
Yeah.
And,
Because we pretty much just like moved in like immediately.
Yep. Same.
Because I moved in with my friend because I had been planning on moving in with her for like the past 6 months before I moved in with her, before I moved to Iowa City. And then I moved in with her, and then like not even 2 weeks into me living with her, she was like, "Oh, I'm moving in with my boyfriend. You have to move in. You have to live with 3 random people now." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And so then he offered me to live with him, and I was like really weary about it. But I was like, I mean, we already spend so much time together.
Yeah.
So
it's better than 3 strangers. So
yeah. So then I moved in with him, like not even pretty much a month into us dating, and yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah.
It was such a good fit. It was like.
I love the way we did our relationship. You know what I mean? It was very different than how I've done relationships before, in the way that like how hit the ground running we were with each other. Like it was just an immediate mix. And I have parts of my personality that I was convinced I was never going to be able to like shape and develop. Convinced that I was not going to be able to. And now that she's around, it's by observing her a lot. It's not even her like trying to fix me or anything. It's by watching her be the way she is. It makes me like reflect onto myself and figure out how to change those things. And not for like I feel out of obligation or anything. Just feel like, oh, this is what I've been. I just needed an example of how to do that. And I like the way she does that. You know what I mean? You can add it to your life and vice versa. Same thing with her. You know what I mean? I think it's a big part of our relationship.
A lot of similarities there, I think, too. I also wanted to second your shout out to Hinge because, I mean, for the short time that I spent on there, I had great experiences. Nothing really bad, but, you know, then we met. Not on Hinge, but
dog.
I'm just saying it wasn't like it's not like a hookup app.
It's not a hookup app at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Hinge is a little bit more because
All right, I guess the Sexy Housewife podcast is brought to you by Hinge.
Listen, mine's been deleted. It's all good, but I out of all of them, because Tinder.
Give me your phone. So a sexy housewife to me is somebody who wants to learn how to cook, clean, and come better. Right. So a lot of people, especially I feel like Gen Z, millennials, we order a lot of takeout. We do a lot of fucking HelloFresh, a lot of that shit. And it's like, we have Instacart, like you have grocery pickup. Like, you don't need to order vegetables in the mail for the love. Like, do you know how hard it is for delivery people to deliver vegetables in the, like, they already have to deliver your appliances and clothes that were assembled by slaves. Like, they don't need to deliver your vegetables to. You can pay someone at Hy-Vee to throw those in your trunk. Seriously, like, it's not that hard.
100%.
I can teach you. I'm going to teach you how to cook. Okay? It's not that bad. So today, I brought some roasted salsa verde. And it's super easy to make. And I have some tips on how to make it. And the recipe is going to be online on mangomustachemedia.com. Is it Mango Mustache Media or just mangomustache.com, Alex?
Either one works, but we've been pointing people to mangomustache.com.
So it's mangomustache.com/sexyhousewife. And that's where this recipe, you can find that recipe there. You can go to our Instagram, Sexy Housewife Pod. That's going to be on there as well. And it's super delicious. You can make it not so spicy for you white folks. Just kidding. Connor loves spice.
I like spice. I like
you like
spice.
spice?
Yeah, my fiance is Korean. Wait, and there's plenty of spicy stuff thrown in there. It does hurt my belly though a little bit, but I'll be good.
It just makes me gassy. And then, but if you don't like spice, I can teach you how to take out the seeds. So this is actually a really funny story. So I used to work. So back when I lived in Marshalltown, I worked at a nursing home, and I was we were making like guacamole or something, and I was trying to show like someone who went. She was like the manager of the program that I was working in the kitchen, and she was like the manager of the program, and she was like trying to show me how to take the seeds out of a jalapeno. And I was like, no, you probably shouldn't do it that way. Like, you'd probably like cut it lengthwise and then just like slide the knife, like just slide it like this. And then super easy. No, she just wanted to do it so hard, like the hard way, because she went to culinary school and yeah, and
Dude,
she fucking wound up slicing her fucking finger. And I felt like she was super nice, and I felt really bad for her, but I was like, like,
nah.
it was actually so fucking funny.
That is funny. That is funny. She deserved that.
And you said, didn't you say she was training you too? Like,
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
trying to
dude.
train me.
Yeah.
She was trying to train me and like how to slice a jalapeno.
Justice.
And,
That's justice.
And I'm like, dude, I'm Mexican. I think I know how to fucking do this. And she fucking wound up slicing herself. And I was like, karma. All right. So you want to grab that, babe?
Yeah.
So
here's
you
the
already
salsa.
ate this. I'm going to move this. You already had this, Con. I mean, you eat this all the time.
I know.
Alex, you want to try?
Yeah, I don't want. There's so much going on here. I'll try some in a bit. But thank you.
Damn, yeah. That is really good. Oh, and I like what are these chips? Shout out to Aldi. What were we saying?
Shout out to Aldi. We've got yellow corn tortilla chips.
Yeah,
I
these
like
are
how they're advertised as gluten-free. No shit. Corn does not have gluten in it.
Oh, I did not know that. It's not that I didn't know that. It's not that I
Thanks.
thought it had gluten in it. I was
So-
gluten
I
indifferent.
mean, I would have assumed there was gluten in chips. Just off the top of my head, I'm not like super educated about it.
The kick is perfect. It's like it's nice and subtle. It like stays throughout. I really like it.
I think it just depends on the jalapenos that you use because I left all the seeds in. But, so a couple tips. On peeling the garlic. So sometimes it can be really tedious to peel the garlic. So the best way to do it is just take the garlic and then just smash it with the palm of your hand. And that way you can, not only will it release the flavor, but the peel will just like come right off.
Yeah, kind of bursts off.
Yep. And then
The way you showed me how to do it was to take the one little clove, right? And you stuck it underneath a knife on the counter, and you kind of smacked the knife.
yeah, you can do that too. I was going to say that too.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it with a knife too. But I mean, sometimes I'm lazy and I just do it with the palm of my hand. But you can also do it with a knife if you are more thorough. But I am a lazy piece of shit sometimes. And I don't want to dirty a knife. Anyway, Connor, thanks for doing that.
Correcting you.
Thanks for making me look like an asshole. No more for you. Anyway, that was Connor's last time on the Sexy Housewife podcast.
Sorry, dog.
And then another tip is, so limes, sometimes they can be hard to get all the juice out of a lime. And this can go for anything. Like you're making a margarita, you're making a mojito, you're making a mule, or I like how I'm only talking about cocktails.
Yeah, alcohol.
Or you're making salsa. You roll around the lime, if you don't know this already. Roll around the lime, and before you cut it, and then afterwards, all the juice, it'll be nice and juicy. So you'll have a nice and juicy lime.
Like with some pressure.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
Basically,
Don't
squeeze
just-
the lime within the lime.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. So you want to roll around the lime with the pressure. You want put some pressure on that lime. You want, you like your.
Shout out to my fiance.
Does she have a nice juicy pussy?
It's dope,
Well,
dude. Listen, we can pretend all those cute reasons earlier why I'm with her. At the end of the day, the sex is phenomenal.
We'll talk later, Connor.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then, so I roast. So the reason why it's called roasted salsa is I roast all my veggies. So we've got tomatillos in there. Obviously, we've got garlic. We've got onion. You can use white or yellow onion. I prefer the white, clearly. We've also got we've got salt. I like sea salt or garlic salt. We've got some freshly ground pepper. A lot of people don't know this, but a pepper, it actually like goes stale like immediately.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know that.
So you really need to get like a pepper grinder.
Yeah. Okay. We do have a pepper grinder. But I didn't know it could go stale like that.
Yeah, it goes stale like immediately. Like goes stale like within like minutes of grinding it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, just a fun fact. And then you roast all your veggies in some like hot olive oil for a few minutes, and then you blend them in a blender with some chicken stock and with some fresh cilantro and that juicy ass lime.
Shout out to my fiance again.
Connor, you should shout out me now.
Making me look bad. Shout out Karen too.
And then you can blend it to your like desired consistency. So I originally made this for quesadillas. So I kind of just
Oh, that would be good. Sorry.
it was delicious.
Yeah, that sounds really good with that.
So I originally made this for quesadillas. So I kind of blended it nice and my original thought that came to my mind was nice and blendy.
Smooth?
Smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, smooth. But if you made it just for chips, you can leave it chunkier.
Yeah, that's probably how I would prefer. Is a little bit chunkier, but that's phenomenal. I really like. It tastes really fresh. It's really good.
Yeah. Yep. So
Do you dunk your quesadillas into something like that, or do you spread it on top before you start eating the quesadilla?
dunk.
You dunk. Me too. I dunk too.
I like to dunk.
I don't like when the quesadilla gets soggy. You know what I mean?
Plus I can make it cold.
Same.
Yeah. We're on the same wavelength with that. Good.
Yeah. Love it. So now that we're talking about your fiance's juicy pussy, you are engaged. So how did you propose?
This is a good story. So we got engaged of June, and we met in the January of last year. So we met in January of 2022, and we got engaged in June. Yeah, I think it was mid-June. We were at Bonnaroo, the music festival, dog.
Nice.
It was so sick. We were blown out on Molly. I don't know how censored we need to be on this podcast, but
Dude, I just talked about your fiance's juicy
oh
pussy.
yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, we were blown out on that. That was what we had been doing earlier that day, all day, and then we were kind of on the come down, just relaxing. And there was a sunrise set by Lane 8. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Shout out to Lane 8. But they were doing a sunrise set, so it was like 3:00 in the morning, and it's like really chill. It's the music, they know people are coming down from drugs at these festivals, so the music is very nice and chill and relaxing. And I just looked at her, I'm like, I don't know what we're wasting time for anymore with this whole marriage thing. And I'm like, do you want to get married? And she's like, yes, absolutely. And we've ever since then, that's what we've been. We've been super pumped. I mean, people. That's how her and I both kind of operate doing stuff like that. So no one in our family is really surprised, like when we told them that we got engaged at a music festival, you know? And I'm sure our kids will love that story, but it was great. We did. I mean, that was such a fun weekend because it was like 4 or 5 days. One of the nights we did acid and we went to go see Rez. Shout out Rez. I don't know if you guys know who Rez is. But yeah, it was such a fun festival. Got engaged there, and we plan on getting married probably next year. That's what we're looking at. Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna have like a traditional wedding, or are you gonna do the same thing, like a elope sort of thing?
It'll be so. Before we were actually gonna get married in August, but we decided we want to put it off a little bit more, save up a little bit more money, and we might just elope anyway. That's probably definitely what we're gonna do.
It's so worth
Do it.
But as far as the wedding goes, my grandpa we could get into this or not get into this. I was raised by my grandpa. I lived with him growing up, and he has some timber out back, and I worked. I mean, from the time I was 12 to now, I've been working out in that timber, clearing it out, making it look better. And so we want to get married like in his backyard, and it's beautiful back there. It's really cool. I'm sure you guys will get an invite. Don't worry.
I hope so.
But yeah, so again, it'll be a little bit more low key. My friend is gonna marry us. He's actually building us an altar for the wedding. It's gonna be really
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a blood sacrifice where we cut our hands into a bowl and then drink it and consume each other's flesh as well.
That part is a joke.
No, it is a joke, but kind of not. We talked about it. We've talked about it, and I told her I would definitely I would be down to drink your blood. I don't care. Does that freak you out?
Are you fucking Marilyn Manson?
No, but I don't get why that's weird.
That is weird.
But in a ceremonial way. I'm not talking about drinking like
it's just
vat
like
of her blood.
It's like symbolic.
A symbolic thing. We talked. I don't think we'll do it because I think her family's from Korea, so I think it would really freak them out if we would like.
I'm too Mexican for this shit.
Yeah. I think it would definitely
white people thing.
Yeah, no, it would not be good. White people in the woods. I mean, that's like the most terrifying thing you can think of.
That is some midsummer shit.
Yeah, dude, it would be terrifying for them.
Yes, it would.
No, her family loves me though.
Okay,
Anyway.
I will go ahead and decline that RSVP.
No, come on, Doug, come on.
I'm just kidding.
There will be acid in the juice bowl. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm down then. I'll be there.
Good.
That's really cute, though. I love that.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm excited.
That's so cute. I love love.
I love love too. I mean, obviously early in our relationship, maybe in 40 years we'll begin to hate each other's significant others or whatever. But as of right now, I love mine.
It's fine.
What? You don't think? You get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I know.
Just make sure you have good health insurance and can do some couples counseling. Get a good couples counselor. Yeah. Right, babe?
I mean, yeah, it's financial stress is the worst of all. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the biggest thing that breaks up any couple is that it always comes down to finances for most people when they break up.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they were just stupid and got married and they weren't compatible at all.
Right. Which definitely happens a lot.
But yeah.
Yeah. For us, I mean, our little elope story was pretty cute. I mean, he was I was in the kitchen just like painting my nails, and I had been like kind of bugging him about getting married because I was like, we might as well. Like, we've been living together for, years. Like, it had been like, what, 2 years? Or just under 2 years.
No, not, yeah. A
It had
year
been
and a
like,
half.
yeah,
but-
like a year and a half. We'd been together for a year and a half at that point. Like, I know I'm going to be with you for fucking ever. Like, let's just do it. Let's just get married. Let's just do it. We should just do it.
Yeah, and my whole thing was just like my parents had been divorced, so like I was just like I want to wait like as long as I possibly can and make sure this is like absolutely going to work. But then, at a certain point, it was the exact same thing that you said. It was like, why am I doing this? We know we're perfect for each other. Let's just do it. And I was like, how about we do it in Vegas? Let's just go to Vegas.
He had been wanting that for a while.
Vegas stuff.
He had been wanting that for a while.
All right, so we definitely are. There's a lot of similarities in our relationship that I've been seeing.
He had been wanting to do Vegas for a while, and I did not want to.
Really?
I wanted a traditional wedding, and I wanted to spend a lot of money, and I wanted to do a traditional wedding, and so that's why we had been also putting it off. And then I finally was like, okay, we can do a Vegas wedding. And then he was like, okay, will you marry me then? And I was like, okay, yes.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, great, because I have a lot of things planned. And I was like, huh? Like, what do you mean? And then...
So you had already been thinking about what to do for the Vegas wedding?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had a night, the nice place picked out. I knew the Wynn would be a good place to stay. It's a super nice hotel there. Not much else, but there's so many things to do in Vegas.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't really have to
Yeah.
plan a whole
Everything
lot.
else kind of just fell into place.
I grew up in Iowa. Well, I grew up all over. We kind of moved around a lot as kids, we ultimately settled up in Iowa. And I went to like a small school in town or here near Cedar Rapids or whatever. And it just is. There's a lot more that goes into it. My parents being in prison. My parents went to prison. I don't know if we should unpack all that, but
Drug dealers.
They were drug dealers. Went to prison, and I went to the high school that my mom went to high school to. And the community was still the people she went to high school with. But I didn't go there till like 5th grade. So here I am coming into the school that I'm not from, where it's my mom went to high school at. And all of her, like the kids she went to high school with that know she went to prison now know that her kid is like growing up in the school system. So it always just felt like weird. And there are a lot of good people in that community. I'm not even talking shit about them, but there was also some not cool people. And
Just like bad stipulations.
yeah, dude, just them assuming a lot of stuff. So, and I would act out because I'm like, fuck you guys. So I'll be whoever I want to be. I'm not going to be this thing you want me to be. Well, by the time you're 23, because you've been trying to figure that out on your own, you get so mixed up in your head. And I just had to like get out of Iowa. I'm like, I just got to get out of here. And my brother was getting out of the military at the time. And my sister was already living in North Carolina. And so he's like, hey, do you want to move to North Carolina? I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So we moved out to Raleigh. And it was like a big exodus for my family. Within like a year, me, my sister, my brother, and my mom moved up to New Jersey all at the same time. We all moved out there. And And I actually had started comedy a little bit before. Like I was kind of doing comedy before I moved to the East Coast for like 3-4 months or whatever. And that was like the culmination of everything, of me just having to get out because I wasn't ready to do stand up really yet. Like when I was on stage, I didn't know, I didn't have a good feel for it, I guess you could say. So I ended up moving out to the East Coast with nothing in mind, like no job, really, nothing set up, just this place that we're going to live in. I'd saved up a little bit of money to like throw down. And I was by myself at first because my brother, he hadn't gotten out of the military yet. There was like, it was going to be like a 3 or 4 month period. So for the first 3 or 4 months, I was just living down there by myself. My sister lived like 2 hours away, and it was like a brutal time for me, like mentally, like that. I was already kind of in a bad space. And then that like pushed me through more bad shit by being alone, isolating myself. And I ended up being like a fucking dude. This is the wildest shit, dude. I responded to some Indeed app to be like a work for a landscaping company. And so I get interviewed by this guy or whatever, and he's like 20 years old, and he turns out to be the owner of this landscaping company, and he hires me on.
Daddy's money.
Well, no. He was like working from the ground up, like literally,
Really?
legitimately had no money, but he didn't know what he was doing. He had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like all the dude, we put up so many retaining walls. I promise you, those things are falling in like 2 or 3 years. Listen, dog, the guy had me in charge of all of it, and I'm good with my hands. I grew up like landscaping, hardscape, doing that kind of stuff, but I'm not like a foreman. Like an engineer who's like knows how to lay down all the proper shit. So I was doing that for a while, but the guys, they ended up not having enough money, and like they weren't going to pay some of their employees, and he wanted me to stay on with them, and he literally said, we're going to hire a bunch of illegal immigrants to finish this work and get rid of the current workers that we have, not pay them until like 3 weeks from now when we'll have the money. And I walked off the job site. I'm like, fuck you guys. Like, I'm not, listen, dude, I don't need this job that bad. Like, I'm not going to get involved with this. No. So what that led into was that day when I left, I got a job at a car dealership, and I started selling cars for a living. And that was just that fueled the mental health issues. But at the same time, it kind of pulled me back out of it because I was making a little bit more money, took some of those financial pressures off. Mm-hmm. I mean, with that, though, I mean, your other problems get sorely exposed when you're not worried about money as much. But that was a good time selling cars. I'm not going to lie. I kind of got to know people a little bit, and you kind of get to talk to people. And now, like, when doing stand-up, I kind of use a little bit of that stuff I was learning in selling cars because you just get to know people. And, like, crowd work for me, like, talking to someone in the crowd isn't that hard because I had to talk to, like, the craziest people on the planet working at a fucking car dealership. Used car dealership, dude. A used car dealership. And we were smoking weed in the parking lot. I mean, dude, there was this one chick who every day she had those little bootlegger shooter things, like they're like a pint size or whatever, just on the parking lot, the employee parking lot. They're scattered everywhere because she would just come into work drunk as fuck, dude.
That's hilarious.
This place was so fucking crazy, dude. We would. There was one time. Oh my god, I shouldn't out myself. Like whatever. I was finishing. I'm not a big drug guy. I like smoking weed. I like psychedelics. That's usually kind of like the route I like to go. I don't really get into pills. I've had a lot of bad history with like friends and family with that, so I stay away from it. But you know, if someone has a Xanax bar, I'm not gonna turn it down. Xanax. What am I? What am I, a Puritan dog? Like, if someone has a Xanny, your boy's going to Xannytown, all right? But I didn't really fuck with Xanax like that, so I didn't know really what it was gonna do with me. Well, I'm in the middle of selling a truck to this guy, and it's wrapped up. Like, I sold the truck. He's out on the test drive. I already know he's gonna buy it. Like, he has a check in hand, basically. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to pop the Xanax halfway through the deal. And like, by the time I get done with it, like, I'll be able to get out of here and have some fun. It would be like, I was going to be done with my day after that. Well, the dude ends up taking like a 30-minute test drive. And then on top of that, we have paperwork after that. Well, the Xanax kicks in, and I took a full one with no tolerance to Xanax, and I blacked out in the middle of the car deal. I was gone, Karen. I'm gone. Like, Zach was not in the room. My buddy, shout out to I'm not gonna say it. Shout out to my boy Manny. I worked with a bunch of Middle Eastern dudes, and they were the best. They were literally, because they were so. We'll get into that, but he recognizes that Zach's losing it in the middle of this car. Like, he's not coherent right now, so he ends up taking over the car deal for me, finishes up the paperwork for me, and gets me like out of the area. And so I actually ended up making $400 while being fucking blasted off Xanax at my job. So that was the work environment that we were going through, you know? So I'm having fun in North Carolina at this point. It's a good time. But then after that, that's when COVID hit. So like I'm selling cars. My first month ever selling cars, I sold 12 cars in 2 weeks. And then after that, I sold 20 cars in the month, 25 cars the next month, and then 30 cars the next month. So like I was making $8,000-$9,000 a month with bonuses and all that kind of stuff. And I was making $15 an hour at Dr. Pepper before this. I worked for Keurig Dr. Pepper in town. All right. Like I was not making that kind of money. And so then you start thinking, oh, I can afford an Audi. No, you can't, kid. You cannot afford an Audi. I ended up buying an Audi, feeling pretty good about myself. It's the first thing I've ever been able. I grew up poor. I mean, when my parents sold drugs, we had money for like a 2-year window. But outside of that, I've been poor my entire life, dude. Just so broke. So the first time I have some money, I want to go and buy a nice car. So I buy this nice little car. Well, COVID ends up happening. And at first, it's all good. People are buying, those $1,400 checks came in, dude, down payment on a car. People were not spending that on food. I'll tell you that. People were spending on down payments on cars and mattresses, all right? I end up, this is where kind of the downfall of me moving back to Iowa starts. COVID hits. We end up selling no cars after that. Like, the checks, after the checks stopped coming in, no one's buying cars. And it's $1,000 a month between the car payment, the insurance, and the gas for an Audi. It's $1,000 a month. And I can't keep up with that payment. On top of that, I have a big house payment for rent. Me and my brother are splitting. And on top of that, I'm dating a chick at the time that we won't get into too much. But, we started dating during COVID. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those relationships, and she just came from a different side of the fence than me. I had a little bit more money than I did growing up, and I wasn't good with money. She was right to leave me. I'm gonna be honest. Like I was not in a good spot at the time. So all of this stuff starts happening. My car ends up getting repoed because I couldn't keep up with the payments. My ex leaves me, and I'm just like fucking. I had to move back with my mom in New Jersey. I stopped selling cars for a grip, and I started working at Mattress Firm in North Carolina. And I realized that they'd let me transfer if I wanted to move to New Jersey. So I'd come up with a game plan to get back to Iowa. And part of that was to move to New Jersey for a little bit, save up some more money, get back to Iowa. Well, the reason why I did that is because the year prior, I had came back to visit, and we went to, me and my buddy, we went to his friend's house, and he ended up having DMT, dimethyltryptamine, like the world's most potent psychedelic,
I'm familiar.
Yeah, Doug. So this is where everything accelerates after that. And this will tie back to everything I was telling you guys about, like growing up, being a kid, and trying to get out of there. I'm like, let's just do it right now. Because how often does someone just have DMT on them?
Almost never.
Literally never. And so I'm like, let's do it right now. Let's get this out of the way. And I do it, have this crazy, deeply spiritual, mystical experience where these entities pop into the room. You guys heard a million DMT stories, I'm sure, if you're listening to this. But what the overall feel that I got out of it is these entities were like, hey, man, we just want to be your friend. That was like the main message of it. And I realized, oh, dude, it's okay to move back home. Your friends just want to be your friend for who you are, dude. Like, I know you have this idea of who you are in your head, and you're so conflicted of not understanding yourself, but your friends know who you are, dude, and you're safe there. And from that moment, dude, from that DMT trip to starting stand-up to me standing in front of you, it's all been a very a sharp progression, like a direct correlation from that time. And so the East Coast, it was like, not to compare myself to Christ going into the desert or anything, you know what I mean? But that was a little bit of my like journey into that and getting back here. And now I'm enjoying, now I have a different, fresher perspective about being in Iowa. Iowa sucks, but at the same time, I do love it here. I love the community here. And I think there's a lot of space for cool things to happen in this area, especially with comedy. The comedy scene around here is pretty sick. I mean, when I first moved away, it was dead. Like there was nobody. It was not very good. And I come back here, and it's like, it's almost like there's a wait. Is there a path? Can I see a path and stand up to make it here? And I think if you're looking closely enough in this area, that path exists for sure. You know what I mean? So it's great to be back. Anyway, that's kind of I just kind of went right there, and I didn't really
love
give
it.
you guys time to like pop in or anything.
Oh,
but
you're good.
good.
I've actually done DMT myself a handful of times.
Yeah, dude, tell me about it.
I was never. My mind is way too like anxious and locked down to ever like let myself go and get to that experience.
Full
that you-
disclosure, this was years ago. If any potential employees are listening to this, many years ago.
Many years ago,
we're
it
not
was-
gonna get into how I came in possession of it, but
So you never blasted through, is what you're saying?
no, I never actually broke through. Honestly, a handful of times, probably 5 to 7 at least.
And you haven't broke. Damn.
and I never broke through. The best experience that I had though was I remember you know, getting a few real good hits off of it, and then as you probably know, it takes over, like
instantly.
physically takes over your whole body instantly, and you're just like almost paralyzed. And I like laid back on the couch, looked up at the ceiling, and in the basement in my bedroom there was that like kind of like that splatter pattern. I don't know what you call it,
Popcorn
but
ceiling.
popcorn ceiling. And when I looked up at that, I could see like all these geometric shapes all swirling around all the dots, and like every color you can imagine pulsing in and out of it across the ceiling.
Fuck, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I was like, whoa. And
This is now an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, I was about to say.
never really like got any like fully conscious like message like you did, like yeah, your friends are okay with you, like you said.
Yep.
I never got like a like a message like that, but I feel like ever since that point, like I don't know, I've just been able to see things more clearly.
There's a pattern to life. You recognize a pattern. There's a very much a pattern in life.
Yeah, yeah. You just it changed me for the better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't take those experiences back.
The other time I did it, it taught me how to play chess. That's pretty cool. I did
Wow.
it. I knew how to play chess afterwards.
How the fuck?
I'm exaggerating. I was it put me in a place to be able to learn how to play chess. But
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Anyway.
Interesting.
It really does. Things like that really open your mind to just, I don't know, being accepting of your current situation and I don't know.
Meanwhile, I am on venlafaxine, lamictal, propranolol, buspirone, topiramate.
Yeah, I looked in your
You
thing.
just need
I
to
was
come
like,
over to Xannytown, all right? At Bonnaroo. We'll get you squared away, dog. Oh, fuck, that's funny.
What a fun time.
Yeah.
Connor was worried about being on camera. He
Oh,
did
really?
not want to be. No, he did not want to be on camera. He was like, "Am I going to be on camera?" And I was like, "Yes." He's like, "I have zits." I was like, "That's okay, babe. We'll put you on the non-4K camera."
Yeah, dog. And make sure you get my angles tight because there's no flaws going on over here, okay? I'm having a good hair day. All right.
You are.
Yes.
I washed and conditioned it last night.
Looks great.
We had a show last night as well
yeah?
at Joystick.
Looks good. Was it fun?
It's good.
Good.
It ended up actually being pretty good. At first, it was a little bit tough to you know how that place can get sometimes, but it ended up actually being really good. I had one nice little tag on. I hosted, and my host set didn't go good, but in between comics, I did have one nice little tag that like got a laugh, and I'm like, that's all I needed tonight.
Good. I actually, on Friday, I decided to say fuck it, and I went up to the comedy bar in Dubuque. And I had never been there before because usually they have open mics on like Wednesdays.
Really?
And I work, so I'm not able to ever go. And I said, fuck it. They had an open mic on Friday night. And I went and I shout out my good friend Austin Ingalls.
Shout out to Austin. He's the best.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I was like, can you sign me up for 9 p.m.? I will be there at 9. Got there at 8:50. Got there, went downstairs. I was like, where's your bathroom? They were like, upstairs to the left. Went up there, did my makeup 5 minutes. Went back downstairs, went into the room where they have it. They literally walked into the fucking room. They called my name to the stage.
Serious.
Deadass. Dead ass.
My anxiety, you literally just made my butt like feel like I have to poop a little bit. Like that's how much anxiety that gave me.
I fucking I was like, oh fuck. I had written nothing. I had literally just it's an hour and a half drive. So I just set my fucking purse down on an empty table. I went up to stage and I go, hey guys, literally just drove here from Iowa City, drove here an hour and a half. Fucking went for it. Told my just shot the shit. Told my egg drop soup joke.
Dude, the egg that shit makes me fucking
Murdered.
It gives me so many emotions. That's why I like it, because it makes me laugh, but it also makes me want to fucking punch you in the face.
It's not just funny.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I was actually trying to I was kind of lingering around because I was trying to find Austin afterwards to say hi. And I was kind of hanging around. And then there was a gal at the bar, and she was like, hey, did you really drive up here from Iowa City just for this? And I was like, yeah, I did. You know, I've been meaning to come up here for a while to do the open mic, but I've never been able to because it's always on the weekdays and I work, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, do you want to come up next Friday and do a show?
Fuck yeah, dude.
And I was like, are you kidding? Like, yes.
Hell yeah, dog.
And she was like, yeah, I really like your shit. You're super funny. And I was like, yes, and I'm going to be there next Friday.
Shout out to the comedy bar.
Fuck yeah. Shout out to the comedy bar.
Before I started doing stand-up, because isn't there a comedian that kind of runs that joint that was on some sort of, was he on SNL or something?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. Okay, maybe I won't go into that. Anyway, I think I have been there one time to go see a comedian, and I do like their vibe up there.
Is it called the Comedy Bar? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think I have been there one other time.
They have one in Chicago and one in Dubuque.
And then I think it is the place I'm thinking of.
So that's a really good connection to Chicago then.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. It was a fun time. Yeah, it was great.
Comedy Bar, if you're watching this podcast, I'm also very funny. All right. And if you guys need someone on the show, I'm very free. All right. Very free. Actually, shout out to Karen. You're the only one, not the only one. You're one of few people who do give me work around this place. So thank you for that. Very much appreciate it.
I'll second that. You are very funny.
You are funny.
Thank you,
Yes,
Doug.
you are funny.
I don't believe that, but thank you.
I would not book you if I didn't think you were funny.
I know. I have to just start letting myself believe that I'm funny.
You are funny.
Yeah, I have to
I would
believe
not
it.
book you if you weren't funny.
Well, I
I
appreciate
wouldn't have
that.
you on this podcast right now if you weren't funny. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Connor, for letting me make fun of you on stage and on this podcast.
Always.
We will. I'll suck your dick later. Well, babe. Zach.
When is it?
Alex.
When are you guys posting this?
This will be out June 13th, I believe.
Do you mind if I throw something out there?
Yeah, of course. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Just a couple things I got coming up. Actually, again, speaking of Karen giving me an opportunity, coming up I'll be at the Willow Creek Theater on the 23rd
Yes.
of June for Jorge Ramirez.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to Jorge Ramirez. And then the following month on the 21st, so the July 21st, I'll be at the Lucky Cat doing the Best Comic in Iowa competition. It's a preliminary round.
I'll be there too.
Hell yeah. And then on top of that, by the time that this drops, I think my podcast is going to drop. You mind if I throw a tip in for that? Me and my friend BJ Groves and my roommate / hetero life mate, Jordan Smothers, we're doing a podcast together. Jordan's our producer. It's called Foot in the Game. So follow me on social media at Zach S. Hoyle on pretty much everything. And yeah, I'm sure a podcast will be a drop by the time you guys see this.
Awesome. Yeah. Also, I can say that I'll be hosting a Don't Tell comedy show at Willow Creek Theater this Friday, June 16th. Yeah, super exciting. June 16th, Don't Tell Comedy, comedy's worst kept secret. And then we've got Jorge Ramirez coming to Willow Creek Theater on June 23rd. Zach's going to be there. I'm going to be there. We've got lots of cool shit coming up. next month at Willow Creek Theater as well. See you next Tuesday, babes.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Mango Mustache Media.